To add a new stock item into your inventory, you can begin by clicking on the Add ribbon on the top left, then choosing Stock, and then selecting Stock Item. Once the stock item form loads, the first step will be to assign a stock number to this new item. That can be done by either activating a barcode generator that'll sit just to the left of the stock item box, and that will provide sequential numbers for each new stock item, or maybe you're using the manufacturer's or supplier's number for that stock number, and that's fine. You would just enter that number right into this text box. Next, you'll enter a description for that item. Once you've determined the stock number and the stock description, at that point you'll decide whether it's a standard stock item, a serialized stock item, batch or lot style, which basically lets you track by lot number and even expiration date, a non-inventory item, or it's serialized with quantity. Once you've made that determination, you can give a general description for this item, and you can even assign it to a specific category if you'd like. The categories that are available you'll see in the drop-down menu, which you can click on and select directly from there, or search through a list of available categories by clicking the magnifying glass and either searching for the item at the top or scrolling through a list of available categories and then choosing that category and selecting the Select and Return button. If the category you're looking for isn't listed here, you can always add a new category by clicking the plus button and then typing in the new category. Once you've created the new category, click Save, and now you can see that it's been populated for the category here in the stock item form. You'll also be able to control the units of measure. Set up the way we have here, we receive these in and issue them out by the each or individually. However, you may receive things differently. For example, you may receive, in a case of 24, and issue those out by the each. If the unit of measure isn't in here, then you can always add additional units of measure by clicking on the plus button. For additional information on units of measure, we recommend you watch the unit of measure video. Also, you can search for the different units of measure by clicking on the magnifying glass. The Costing tab will actually let you track your cost on the item, which you can enter into the cost field. And then if you do any kind of a price markup based on a percentage, a dollar amount, or perhaps even a fixed price that you're always going to maintain, you can enter that information here. The Stocking Information tab will let you specify your global min-max quantities for this item. You can think of the minimum on hand as being your reorder point for this item. You can also specify the maximum, of course, and any lead time that you may need to reorder this particular item here. Also, you can assign a default location if you'd like to by, again, clicking on the drop-down menu and selecting it, adding a new one by clicking the plus button, or searching through a list of available locations by clicking on the magnifying glass. On the Alternate Codes tab, this is where you can enter multiple barcodes so that a single inventory item will be identified by multiple barcode numbers. For example, if you receive this particular item from 3 or 4 different vendors or suppliers, you can add all of those different supplier barcodes into the system here. By doing so, this allows you to scan any of these barcodes upon, say, receiving an item, and when you scan them, it's all tied into one master stock number, so the quantities that you would receive will increase for this stock number here. If you'd like to upload images of the stock item, you can also do that by hitting the Select button, browsing to your Pictures folder, and then choosing the item from there. Once you select the item, just click Add, and that will add that into the stock item file. Next, if you do need to upload any documentation as well, the Documents tab will allow you to click the drop-down menu, select the documentation from the list, and add that to the stock item itself. Now, if the documentation isn't in the list, you can always click the plus button and then hit Select, and that will let you browse your computer for the documentation. Otherwise, you can search through a list of available documentation by clicking the magnifying glass and either searching for the document or again scrolling through the list of documents, selecting the one you need, and then choosing the Select and Return button. The Suppliers tab can be used to either specify a preferred vendor, which you can select from the drop-down menu, or again, add the new vendor by selecting the plus button, or search through a list of available vendors by clicking the magnifying glass. Once you've selected the vendor, you can specify the price from that vendor as well as the stock item number that you receive from that vendor. Once you're done, just click Add, and that will add the vendor into the Suppliers tab. If you need to specify more than one vendor, again, choose the vendor from the list, specify that vendor's stock number, as well as the price from that vendor, and then add that additional vendor in. There's no limit to the number of vendors you can add, so if you want to list all the vendors where you receive this item from, you can do that. There's also a Notes tab on the stock item form, so if you need to make any notes on any particular item in the system, the Notes tab will allow you to type in any note on this particular item. Once you've created all this information, at that point you can hit Save, and now we can see in our list of inventory that that new item has been added below.